Hello everybody and welcome to episode 57 on the ManniCraft server with Black Dog Z. So you'll see we've made it a little farther than last episode. We've gotten one of our boilers completed, and there you go, very simple. And you'll notice we've set up a few managers, 3 of them to be exact. Now this system here is completely set up. We just need to add some sort of fuel. Now the way we're going to be doing fuel is actually this way. So, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to grab this barrel and we're going to move it over. But before we do that, we need to come up with a way to power these. So I've already got some lines run. As you can see, some blue alloy wire, some 10K volt wire. And in here is our wire. So if we go ahead and just take our 10 kV volt wire, just run it down like this. And I'm actually just going to do this. Over to that wall. And there's a reason that I'm running it like this. We want one less. Okay. So now that is exactly how we're going to run that. We're probably going to have to make some more of this blue alloy wire as we won't have enough of it. But should be enough to at least get us started. Alright, so we at least got one of the managers powered, or at least we will have it powered anyway. As soon as we get something right there, we might have to run another piece up. It's been a while since I've done this. These powering systems are kind of awkward, so I still have to put stairs in here. As you can see, I've got a couple of steps, and I still have to do a super jump at the end. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to put those steps in completely. But the first thing we need to build is a transformer. So let's look at that, shall we? Transformer. So this is the one we want to build, but I was actually in single player, just playing around, trying to figure out how we want to do this. So let's take a look at this. This requires some iron ingots, copper coil, and some blue alloy ingots. Now, as far as blue alloy goes, I don't think I have any. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to have to make some. Blue alloy is really easy to make. We're just going to need some of that and some of this nickelite. I think I probably grabbed a little much on the nickelite, but that's okay. I thought that's how that worked. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, it's silver. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can make a lot more blue alloy ingot than I thought. We'll take that iron out of there. We'll grab us... Oh, that's nickel. I don't want nickel. We have so many different ores, it's tough to tell which is which. That's tin, that's silver. Okay. Grab some extra nickelite. We're actually going to make a stack of blue alloy ingots. Mostly because we can. Now for this particular build we'll only need 2, but you never know when we're going to need more, so I'm just making a whole bunch because we have a bunch of silver left over. We need 5 iron. We're going to need some fine copper cabling, which is just a copper wire, and a diamond draw plate. So let's grab our diamond draw plate. We haven't used that in a little bit. And I believe I have some copper in here. Apparently not. I'll have to go grab some. I keep having to check on that because it keeps filling up. There's been some issues with it spitting out some of the... that'll do. With it spitting out the system that's needed. With the peat. So as you can see, there's even some peat in my inventory. I got a few of those. I'm not quite sure how many I'll need, but we'll take a look. Each of these is 4, so I'm going to need 3 more. So we'll grab 3 more. Wasn't quite sure how many I needed. We just run 3 more through the diamond draw plate. That gives us the 8 that we need. As you can see, we need a lot of iron for this build, but we don't have a lot of iron. It's kind of funny. We've been digging, but because it keeps getting stuck, it hasn't actually managed to get low enough to get iron. And I turned all our iron into steel, so that's causing some issues. But, in theory... Iron slab, block of iron. Pulverized block of iron. Yeah, we had some of these iron slab strips from working with RedPower back when we were needing RedPower power. Unfortunately, fortunately I should say, we no longer need these, so we can now make iron out of them. So we'll go ahead and convert that into iron again. It's very sad that we have to do it this way. Normally you'd just be able to break up a block of iron, but because of the way that GregTech has set it up, it has to be pulverized and then re-cooked. So you'll waste a little bit of power there, but it's usually not too bad. Now with the amount of iron we're going to need, we're probably going to need to make another one of those. Nope, drop the block. So there's some iron. As you can see, it pulverizes it fairly quickly though. Amazingly enough, if you macerate it, it takes a lot longer. I think that's GregTech that slowed that down, but when you pulverize it, it's fairly quick, so it's not so bad. Alright, do I have any iron bars left? I have 4. Well, I have to make 8 anyway, so we might as well just make 8. There we go. Then it goes here, 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 and here. And then these. Put that there, put that there. What else does this need? It's an iron ingot in the center. So now we got 2 of those. So now we can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that gives us our voltage transformer. Now that we have our voltage transformer, we're going to need to figure out how to run wiring. So now how to make more wire, just wool with blue alloy ingots. So as you can see, we're making a whole bunch of blue alloy because we've been using this stuff a lot more often than we were. So we just need some wool. That's 12 wool. It'll give us 24 wiring. I do believe that that's just our temporary recipe from RedPower using wool, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the next iteration of RedPower. Hopefully it's not a permanent recipe. I think it's very well balanced because you need a lot of nickelite, and nickelite's actually fairly difficult to get unless you're using it, because when you use it, you use a lot of it. So, may seem easy to get if you're not using it, but trust me, it's not all that easy. Because you need a lot of it. Alright, that's powered. And then, I'm just going to have to run this like this. Oh. Alright, so that should power all 3 of them. I'm just going to stick another one right there because I think it's going to need to be connected. And then if we stick that right there... No? I wonder why that didn't connect. I have an X in here somewhere. Probably was standing backwards and hooked it up backwards. These transformers, I think, are actually side sensitive, so if you put them backwards, they don't actually connect. But now if we take a look at our managers, we should see... Why aren't they getting power? This one is. This one is. Why is this one not getting power? It has something to do with how that's run, I think. Well, Well, how to do this then? Because I would have thought just doing that would connect it, but apparently not. Well, I'm going to have to do it this way. Don't like doing it this way, but it's going to have to be done. There we go. Now the other thing I wanted to do is this. Now you may be wondering what I'm doing here, but trust me, I have my reasons. So then we can put the transformer right here. And then there we go. And that's basically just so I can cover up the transformer. Now I can actually take a piece of cobblestone and go, boom, and the rest of this I can cover up with plating. Except for right there I can put that. So the rest of this I'll cover up with plating, except for right there. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do for that. Unless I run it in the wall. How about we run that in the wall? Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and break the wiring. This is the problem with RedPower wiring, is I always like to make it clean because it's possible to do it clean. And so you end up always doing a little bit extra because you're always trying to make it perfect. And unlike IC2 powering, it's much easier to cover up because you can build those facades or whatever you call them to cover it up. Okay. And the best part is I can just run across here now. Let's go ahead and run that. And you'll see what I mean. There we go. So now the nice part about that is you can build the flat strips, which I'm going to go grab now, and we can cover this up and you'll never know it was there. That's my favorite thing about RedPower, is just how clean it is. Like, a lot of mods don't think about keeping things clean and making things look nice, but Elaram, the maker of RedPower, took that extra step to do this. And like, she didn't have to build these half blocks and quarter blocks and eighth blocks, but the nice part about doing it is that you end up with something nice and clean. I'm actually going to disconnect this because I ran this sloppily. And that way I can do this. And the difference there being that I can actually cover it up a little easier, make it look a little nicer, as you can see. Now, taking the time to actually do these blocks takes a little time, but trust me, it is completely worth it. Just the look of it will be much better, and I think you will like it. Now, I'm using cobblestone right now, and I'll probably change that at some point when I do my cleanup. I usually do a cleanup after a few episodes. You'll notice that things just start disappearing. But that does take time to do. So like as you can see here, I still haven't cleaned this area up. It's still going strong, but nope, we don't want that to go in there. There we go. And peach. Have some spare peach. There we go. See how this thing is doing here? It's still doing okay. We're going to need to get some more sand for that here soon. But everything seems to be going pretty strongly. The system's going again, creating more of this to make sure that stays running. So, now the plan here is to grab a barrel. And we have a few upstairs. And we're going to get this system started. Alright. So all we need is one barrel. It doesn't even need to be ender for now. Although we'll probably make it ender later. So that we can do the whole... So now I'll show you how I plan on doing this. I could just automatically pump it into it. But I'm just going to do it this way. So you'll see that I'm not actually picking all of it up, because I can actually do that. You just need to pick up one and then dump a whole bunch on the ground, and then just start right clicking, and you'll automatically pick them up, which is kind of nice. Now we have a full barrel. Unfortunately, you can't just break a barrel and have it keep its contents. It does lose its contents when you break it. So you're going to have to carry it using something like this, or if you have the gravity gun mod, you could use that as well. And then we're just going to set this right here. And you'll notice it immediately pulled out a stack and went, hey, what do I do with this? But what we're going to do is we're just going to pull one out, and we're going to go, hey, you want to keep at least one. Okay? So I just basically told it to always keep at least one. And then I'm going to tell this system to take as many of these as you can. And it's just going to start pulling them and putting them in there. Now this is a bad idea at this point because we don't want it doing that. And you'll see it's pulling it all back out. It doesn't know what to do with it. The reason that that's a bad idea is because we don't have water in there yet. It's a bad idea to do something like that when you don't have water, because this system needs to turn water into steam. So if you have heat and no water, you're just going to blow it up, which is the last thing we want to do. So our next step is to build an aqueous accumulator. Now, this is why I was hoping to have Xycraft for this, because they have a water block that I wanted to try. But the aqueous accumulator will work. So if you just type in AQ, you'll see the aqueous accumulator. We're going to start by building a machine frame, which means we need more iron and some gold and some glass. What do I got left for iron? I got a couple. Need some glass and some gold. We'll need some other stuff. First, let's start with that particular piece. So, real simple. Okay, I can remember that. So this goes like that. This goes like this. And we need gold. Gold, 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 gold. Gold. Just one piece of gold. And we get a machine frame. Once we have a machine frame, we need a bucket, a couple pieces of glass, a pneumatic servo, and some tin. So let's go back into here. We'll put the machine frame here. We'll put our glass on either side. We'll fix that. we need a bucket. Now I do have a couple of buckets, so let's go grab one. Always got some spare buckets in here, because you never know when you're going to need buckets. Buckets is something that you use quite a bit. I've probably gone through a whole ton of buckets. We need a magic servo, which is 2 more iron, a redstone, and 2 glass. Iron, iron. Glass, glass. And a redstone. So we've got our servo. And then we just need some tin. No tin over here, so we'll have to go get some. 2 pieces of tin needed. As you can see, we have a lot of tin. Amazingly enough, tin was one of the things we were having trouble with, but this last haul got us a ton of tin. I don't know why. Sometimes you get lots, sometimes you get very little, so it's nice to see that we got lots this time. Alright, so that got us our aqueous accumulator. So now the nice thing about the aqueous accumulator is that it doesn't need anything to run. If you just set it out in the world, you'll start producing water. The downside there is it produces water fairly slowly. Now there's a little trick to get it to produce water faster. And the way that works is that you're going to need 2 source blocks of water. Now, of course, water source blocks, you put 2 beside each other, and you basically can create, like if you put 1 here and 1 here, you'll create an infinite 4 water cell, which is kind of nice. But the downside there is that it can't really do much else. Like, it's just an infinite water supply that you can't really feed anywhere else. You could get a pump from Buildcraft, and that would allow you to pump water even faster from that source block. But the problem that I have with that is sometimes those pumps, because they do draw from more than one space at a time, will accidentally produce more than 1. So when it pulls more than 1, you no longer have an infinite source block of water. So what you do is something like that, and then you take some cobble, you fill this in, and what this system now does is creates basically an infinite source water block without having to worry about I can't speak, without having to worry about, you know, it accidentally taking too much water. So now what you can do is you can tell it all sides are out. It's automatically configured that way. So you can actually just slap this down here and it will automatically start pouring water into this system. So it doesn't take much, as you can see. It's just automatically pushing the water out of there and into here. And we're going to wait for this to fill up with 108 buckets of water before we light it up. Oops. Now this system here, we're still waiting on some iron to finish up, steel to finish making up its well. But once that's done, we're going to put another aqueous accumulator here, and we'll do the exact same thing over here. So we'll probably do that next time. As you can see, it's going through a lot of water, but it's able to refill that bucket every time. So this system actually only holds 4 buckets of water, but with how fast it gets water, it's not really an issue. As you can see, this system already has 24 buckets and climbing, 25, 26. So if we give it a minute, it'll be full, and then we'll be able to do what we need to do. Alright. Now that aqueous accumulator could probably support both of those systems. And actually, I think I'm going to make a small change here. Do I have my wrench on me? I do. We're just going to make a small change here. Now, unfortunately, we have created an infinite water block. So there are some downsides to this, because it's just going to sit there and keep taking more and more water. As you can see, it just keeps refilling. But we do have this. So we're actually going to move this thing. We're going to put it, well, first, alright, so now we should be able to dig that out, And now we can put our aqueous accumulator back down, but this time we're going to put it right here. And then we're just going to take cobble and put it here. Put water here. And put water here. And if you take a look, it's going to build just as fast as it did last time. It's just going to sit there and build up water. But what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. Because the more water source blocks you have around this, the faster it supposedly fills. Ah, great. I just took out my wiring. I'm going to have to fix that. So there we go. We'll have to fix our wiring up there. That shouldn't be too much of an issue, though. It just requires us to do this. Come on. It's too difficult to see from down here. We're going to have to go up top. I've got to be more careful when I'm working with my wiring. Should be right about here. If I use this, it'll be much faster. Yeah, see? Then you just do that. And that fixes your wiring problem. Where'd that go? Right there. And there we go. Alright, so now that the wiring problem's been fixed and we have our aqueous accumulator in place, we can just take some of this here and go through. Yeah, I messed up. One thing you got to watch out for the aqueous accumulator is that when you set it down, you got to make sure that you set it down so that you can use it. The front of the block does not push out water, and so whichever way is facing you is always going to be the front. So if you do it this way, now the front's right there. And if we take a look, when we dig this out again, we now have a place where we can put stuff. Oh, really? There we go. Got to be careful with that sort of thing. So there we go. And now we can do liquiducts. So now we just do liquiducts like this. And then we take our wrench and we hit that one. And you'll see it starts pouring water, and it's pouring water just as fast as it was before. Maybe a little bit faster. But there we go. Now we'll supply both of them with water, because I didn't think of that the first time we set it down. Alright, we should be just about ready to get this thing going. I kind of want to start building up steam for you guys before we get going here. So, Well, that should be enough water. So let's go ahead and set this up. So now do I have... No. Just need one piece of blaze rod and we just put it there. And immediately it'll just start pumping blaze rod into here until it can't hold anymore. And it'll keep it there. Isn't that nice? This manager is content. This manager is told, and it's going to get priority 1. Okay? Basically meaning that it will always keep at least one blaze rod in here so that nothing else can accidentally be put in there. And this system here is going to ask for as many blaze rod as it can get. So it's going to continuously keep this full. As you can see, we're starting to build up temperature. We're at 25 degrees. Our water's still building up pretty good. Once we hit 100 degrees Celsius, we'll start building up steam. We need to get to about, I think it's 1,000 degrees Celsius in a high pressure boiler in order to start slowly burning the blaze rod. As you can see, we're going through it pretty quick, and we will for the first little while. Now the downside to managers is this. They're constantly asking for blaze rods. So it's just constantly going back and forth, giving out blaze rods. This system here is told that it only needs to keep one blaze rod. This system wants as many blaze rods as it can get, so it's just constantly giving it to see if it wants more. Now what I could do, and this is a neat trick, you take out 64 blaze rod, and I could put 64 blaze rod in. And then switch it to this mode. And then what it'll do is it will only request blaze rod when it has less than 64. So it's got 63, it's saying, hey, I want blaze rod. So now a little bit of blaze rod comes out, and it fills it up. So it'll keep it at 64 blaze rod. Now, I think I might go that route just because I don't want to have to constantly have this thing requesting blaze rod. It causes a big mess in the pipes, and if you accidentally have to break a pipe, it can cause some issues. So as you can see, we're filled with water, the pipe's full, it's not having an issue keeping up. So that is steam boiler number 1. So steam boiler number 2 should be ready by next episode, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this steam next episode. So you'll get to see what all you can do with steam. We're going to have several different things we can do. Like I said, we plan on producing both EU and Minecraft joules. I haven't decided how we're going to decide to do that yet, but I'm going to show you how you're going to run the piping for all that and the easiest ways to do that. So I will show you that next episode. Until then, I want you to remember that if you have any questions, you can always mark it down in the comments below, and I will try to answer them as soon as I see them. The other thing that I want to take the time to let you know is that if you like this episode or you dislike this episode, please let me know and mark it down. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to subscribe. All right. Have a good evening.